On today's Locked On Royals podcast, the Kansas City Royals win another series, and they also have a blueprint out there for contention. How can they reach it? Who should they model themselves after? And will the good times keep rolling this weekend as they take on the best team in baseball? We're talking about it today on Locked On Royals on Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day.
You are Locked On Royals, your daily Kansas City Royals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Royals podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your teams every day. I am your host, Rylan Stiles. You can follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Royals. Email the show, lockedonroyals@gmail.com. On today's show, we are diving into the Kansas City Royals winning yet another series, this time against a divisional foe. They were able to capture a series win over the Chicago White Sox, but now they face one of their toughest tests of the season, and these youngsters head and take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in Kauffman Stadium this weekend. It'll be exciting to see the Dodgers come to town, obviously. A prolific team with 77 wins on the year, passing the Yankees, of course, for the best record in baseball. The Dodgers are 10-0 in their last 10 games. They are clearly running away with things in the NL in terms of best record. And, of course, the Yankees only one in reach of their record in the AL side of things. So they're going to come to town. You're going to see a team littered with all-stars, but you're also going to see this young Royals team, which is hitting on all cylinders, stack up against them. Now, obviously, within the scope of this season, the Royals are 47-66, and they're 13 games out of the playoffs in the division. But over the course of the last 50 games, they're above 500. Over the course of the last 10 games, they're 6-4. And they have some elite pitching unfolding right now from Brady Singer, who is in line to start Sunday. He has a sub-3 ERA since July. And he's at 2.45 since July 1st. He has been pitching extremely well. So he's going to go Sunday. And then Daniel Lynch and Brad Keller, who had a quality start his last time out, will be the other two pitchers for this series. But I do believe that the Kansas City Royals are, of course, peaking at the right time in the sense of, with a season that's been lost since, it started, let's face it, in April, May, they were the worst team in baseball. Now they're fourth place in the division instead of last place. They are creeping up, but it's peaking at the right time because whenever you're out of contention, you at least want to have momentum heading into next year. And I know what you're going to say. If you want to look at things glass half empty, you can, because they've done this each of the last 3 years. Each of the last 3 years, they have a fantastic August, a fantastic September, and then they just say, well, without that bad start, we'd be a playoff team. And then the next year, what happens? Nothing changes. They still have the bad start, they still have the strong finish, and nothing changes. The reason I buy into the turnaround a little bit more right now is because of who is doing it. It is expected for young players to start slow and finish fast as they get adjusted and acclimated to life in the big leagues. So I believe that they can carry over this success into next year with these adjustments that they've made so far. I believe they can get better and progress and can just develop. Whereas before, you were depending on guys like Whit Merrifield who were 35 years old and just You couldn't teach them anything new, and of course they just like when Merrifield again checked out this year, just totally checked out for Kansas City this year. So I think that this peak is of course happening at the right time for Kansas City and is an important part for the Royals. Again, today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the place to be with the odds, lines, and odds. That's where the game starts. BetOnline.net. Thank you for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Royals baseball. And the Royals win another series. They start out with a doubleheader on Tuesday. They won in game one behind Brady Singer being electric. He only gave up one run in this game. 7 hits total for the White Sox. Only 5 of them came against Brady Singer. So we go 7 innings of 5-hit baseball, 1 run allowed, 6 strikeouts, no walks. Big deal for Singer is keeping his command over the course of this stretch since July. Royals offense produces 4 runs off 9 hits. It was a huge day for Michael A. Taylor, 2 for 4 with a run scored. Nick Pratto also a big winner today. In game 1 of the series, 3 for 4 with a run scored and 2 RBIs. And Nick Pratto, of course, had the walk-off home run last Saturday against Boston. He is starting to pick things up after a slow start. Again, it's about adjustments. It's about these young players turning it around from a slow start. For Pratto, it's not even a slow start. It's just that his numbers are so wonky because he's only had 72 at-bats in his career. He's not had that much time, to build even a sample size at all. So they win game 1, and then they lose game 2 of the doubleheader, 3-2. Another hard-fought game that they lost, in the later stages without that insurance round in the 8th for the Sox. They don't win that game because the Royals do score in the 9th. And again, not a bad start from John Hazley. He did get roughed up a bit in the sense of 8 base runners, let up 7 hits through 5 innings, but limited the damage to just 2 runs scored for the White Sox. And then also, of course, had the 1 walk, 7 hits, but had 5 strikeouts. Now, the big thing for Hazley is the home run. The command has not been the same since his injury. And remember, Hazley started the season on fire, and whenever he got called up, he was, pitching extraordinary. Now he's at a +5 ERA and has lost that command a bit, and of course, gave up the 2 homers in this game. Amir Garrett pitches great, clean inning of work. Josh Stalmont, clean inning of work as well, 2 strikeouts. For the offensive stake, it goes Vinny Pasquantino with 2 hits in this one. He's the only Royal with multi-hits. So it's a 1-1 series heading into Wednesday. And Wednesday, the Royals get clicking again. 8 runs for the Royals, 3 for the White Sox, 15 hits for Kansas City. 15. MJ Melendez, 3 of them. Bobby Witt Jr., 2 of them. Salvador Perez, 3 of them. Vinny, 2. Kyle Isbell, 2 hits. You had the MJ Melendez home run. You had the Kyle Isbell and Salvador Perez doubles. And then Chris Bubic, again, a quality start. 1 earned run through 5 innings, 3 walks and 7 hits, though, of course. Got into some trouble there with 6 strikeouts. He had been doing better with command, which had been, but of course one start got away from him. But in terms of runs allowed, earned runs that are charged to him, Bubic had another quality start. Royals win that one. Thursday to end the series, afternoon game, and the Royals are looking, of course, to finish off this series win and not fall into the trap of getting split in a 4-game set at home against Chicago. How do they fare? We'll talk about all of that coming up. But first, I want to tell you right now, but our good friends over at Liver Health Formula. Did you know that the key to sustainable weight loss is through your liver? The liver is the body's metabolic furnace. It's responsible for flushing out harmful toxins and igniting your fat-burning metabolism. But thanks to modern diets, rich in unhealthy processed foods, and constant exposure to thousands of man-made and environmental toxins, most of us have overworked livers. But now it's easy to rejuvenate your liver's health and reignite your metabolism. Thanks to Liver Health Formula by Pure Health Research, Liver Health Formula contains a liver-boosting super nutrients like turmeric, beet, and artichoke extract, all of which work together to wake up the sluggish liver and tune in for the toxin flushing and fat-burning machine that they turn into. No more bloated belly, no more uncomfortable digestion, no more tired feeling and low energy all the time. And best of all, Liver Health Formula makes it easy to maintain a healthy body weight long term. As a listener of our show, you can try Liver Health Formula risk-free today, and you can get a free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Curb Fit is a safe, all-natural appetite suppressant, making it easy for you to say no to naughty foods. This makes it a perfect complement to Liver Health Formula. Go to getliverhelp.com/MLB to learn more. That's getliverhelp.com/MLB to learn more and try Liver Health Formula at a completely risk-free offer and claim your free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Go to getliverhelp.com/MLB right now to get started. That's getliverhelp.com/MLB. We are back on the Locked On Royals podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. On today's show, we're talking about the 4-game series with Chicago. We're talking about how the Royals have a model for contention, a blueprint for contention out there as well. We're talking all of it today on today's show. And so the Royals were able to win game 1, lose game 2, win game 3 of the 4-game set. Trying for the series win, no Bobby Witt Jr. in the lineup, but he did have to pinch, run and hit for Hunter Dozier. Got in at bat, had the hit, 2 runs scored on the pinch run. He came around to score for Dozier, and then of course got on base himself with a base knock and was able to score from that as well. Vinny Pascantino had a home run in this one, and the offense is able to jump alive to a 5-3 win over the White Sox with 8 hits. And the White Sox had 14 hits, but they were able to get shut down thanks to timely pitching by Kansas City. No multi-hit games for Kansas City in this one, and only Michael Massey was on base twice, as well as Vinny Pascantino was on base twice, and Nick Pratto. Other than that, no one reached base safely twice. Now here's the kicker. Zach Greinke got the quote-unquote win, but he was reffed up for 9 hits, but he did get 5 strikeouts and didn't let any of those 9 hits come across the score. He had Koss come in and give up 2 runs, and then Scott Barlow gave up 1 more run in his save attempt, which still was able to get the save, of course, in the win for Kansas City, as the White Sox only struck for 9 in the top of the 9th. So the Royals win the series on Thursday, and now head into Friday night, where they're going to play the Dodgers. It'll be Gosselin, Henley, and Anderson for the Dodgers against Kansas City. We went over how their pitching staffs lined up, but this is the thing whenever you're playing the Dodgers. Tyler Anderson, Sunday's pitcher for Dodgers. 13-1 record, 2.74 ERA. I should say 2.72 ERA. 97 strikeouts, 122 innings pitched. That is going to be tough sledding. But it doesn't get any easier. And if you have Henley pitching on Saturday, who is 1-0 through 6 games with a sub-1 ERA, very small sample size, obviously, but the 31-year-old has good stuff. Born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, which will represent, went to Oklahoma State as well. First-round pick back in 2012, if you remember him. So he'll be pitching in Kansas City, close to home a bit for him, obviously. And we'll see if the Royals can get to him again. That's a small sample size where you don't want to make too many assumptions off of that. And then Tony Gosselin, 20 games so far this year. He has a sub-3 ERA. It goes for 2.30 on the ERA for him and over 100 strikeouts for Tony Gosselin so far this year, a 13-1 record. And for his career, he's a sub-3 ERA guy. His career, he's pitched in 55 games at 28 years old. His ERA for his career, 2.61. This kid is special. These Dodgers are special. And enjoy greatness tonight whenever you go out to the ballpark, or this weekend when you go out to the ballpark, or whenever you're watching on TV. Because I know baseball's unlike any sport in the sense of it's 162 games. They play every day, and you can really only follow one team. It's a regionalized sport. If you invest in watching 162 Royals games, or as many as you can possibly take, or as many as you can feasibly watch without interfering with your personal life, if you do that, you can't watch any other game. Even the Dodgers are on the West Coast. You watch the Royals game, it won't end until about the fourth, fifth inning of the Dodgers game. And then, you don't feel like jumping in late. You just kind of move on and move forward with your life. That's enough baseball for the day. You've been watching baseball from, 6:37 all the way through 10 o'clock. It's time to go to sleep. It's time to move on, right? So enjoy these 3 days where you just get to watch the best team in baseball. The champion Dodgers. You get to watch that championship pedigree, that just elite team roll through Kansas City. They just beat up on your division rivals who lead the division. It's no shame to lose to them. And you're going to see a lineup of Mookie Betts and Trey Turner and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith and Muncy. You're going to see a lineup of Joey Gallo's in there as well. Of course, he's not playing well this year at all, but did have the pinch hit home run as well. Justin Turner, Gavin Lux, Chris Taylor, Cody Bellinger. You're going to see special talent in Kansas City this weekend. Craig Kimbrell of the bullpen. You're going to have those pitchers we just rounded off before. David Price out of the bullpen as well. You're going to see special talent in Kansas City. It'll be worth the ticket. It'll be worth the investment of these 3 days of seeing how these young teams stack up with Kansas City. I mean, these young players stack up with the Dodgers. Now, obviously, you're meteors away right now, record-wise. Meteors away. But this is the brand of baseball, one of the premier brands of baseball coming into your house, as MJ Melendez calls it in Kauffman Stadium, coming into your house against these young pups, Bobby Witt Jr., MJ Melendez. How do they look? Does that shiny record, does that shiny ERA we just talked about from these pitchers, from these starters, do those massive strikeout numbers, does that intimidate your young hitters, where a lineup that can consist of 5, 6, 7, 8 rookies at a time in it? Does that intimidate your young lineup? Or, are they up for the challenge? Do they look competitive? Are they trying to find an edge? Are they trying to find an ability to compete with them? What do your young hitters look like? Do they look overmatched, or do they look like they are going to compete? Just things like that mentally are kind of what you're looking for this weekend, not necessarily a certain win-loss mark. Because honestly, of course, record-wise and talent-wise on paper, the Royals should lose every game in this series, but the games aren't played on paper, and crazier things have happened, and it's baseball. Things can happen all the time where they could sweep the series and it just be written off as, well, baseball happened. But how do these young players look? How do these young hitters look, most importantly, against the Dodgers? That's what I'm looking for this weekend. Now, coming up, the Royals have a blueprint for contention. Let's find out what it is. But first, I want to say right now, they're good friends over at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com is fantastic, whether you're ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment. Find jewelry as unique as they are with modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile has a simple online tool that lets you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity while also picking the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring. Each ring is one of a kind. If you're looking for fine jewelry and having trouble choosing, well, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find life's memorable gifts at every budget. So make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com and get going to right now the Blue Nile anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement rings. Plus, every order is insured, ships for free, and arrives in a discreet packaging that will not give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece by going to BlueNile.com today. That's BlueNile.com. Also, I want to tell you right now about our good friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your betting needs. Find your latest sports developments, events, and number one source for odds, lines, and the game. Find reviews of the news for the league and previews of games by going to betonline.net, including MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, college sports, and even golf. BetOnline is your continued source for top online resources for all of your sport wagering information. Go from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head on over right now to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline is where the game starts. Go check them out today. It's very easy. You just type in BetOnline, and then you go to their website. Boom, you pull up their sports book, and what do you know? Baseball front and center. Let's see. how the Royals are shaping up against the Dodgers. The Royals are 1.5 run underdogs against the Dodgers at Kauffman Stadium. Go check them out and bet on the game if you so choose. We are back on the Locked On Royals podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your teams every day. Thank you for listening to Locked On Royals, making us your first listen. Every single morning, every single game, we're here for you. Talking Royals baseball. We're talking Royals baseball every single day. For your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB. And to end the show, I want to discuss the blueprint for the Royals to contend. And I think that there's a team that the Royals can model themselves after. We've talked about this before, but it's even more clear after the deadline to me. It's the Baltimore Orioles. Look, if the Baltimore Orioles were in the AL Central, they'd be in the lead for the division. But since they're in the AL East, they're 12 and a half games out of their division crown. They're in fourth place. The fourth place team in the AL East would be the first place team in the AL Central. Think about that. Now you look at the wild card. Of course, the expanded wild card that has more teams in it now than ever before, and all that it offers to the table. The Orioles are half a game out of the postseason. Half a game out. Now, why do I think that the Orioles and Royals are so comparable? Of course, the Orioles are building through their drafts and their farm system, and they've done a great job of that. They were a young team that thought, yeah, we could take a step this year, but who would have thought they'd be in this position they are right now? And even though they're only a half game out of the postseason this year, they're ahead of schedule, and they did not panic, and panic can go either way. I think that we mostly think of panic, and we think, oh no, the season's off to a bad start. Let's just trade everything and try to improve. You can also be like, oh no, we are ahead of schedule. Like, we should just push all in, even though this team is not good enough to win a World Series. You have to walk the line, and the Orioles did just that. The Orioles understand, hey, we're not supposed to be here right now. And if we do get to the playoffs and we do have success in the playoffs, it'll be because of young guys like Adley Rutschman. So what'd they do at the deadline? Did they buy? No. Did they sell off everything that they owned? Of course not. But what they did do was they traded Trey Mancini to the Houston Astros. And they got back quality prospects. And I say that comparison to say this. Obviously, the Royals have to hit on their draft picks and the young players for them to get to the playoffs like Baltimore has done. But don't be surprised next year. If we live in this hypothetical world, and I'll let you close your eyes right now, I want you to close your eyes and dream about what the best possible outcome for the Royals is next season. If every single player hits their ceiling and this team is clicking on all cylinders, and Bobby Witt Jr. has his Julio Rodriguez year, and MJ Melendez is cooking as a starlet catcher / corner outfielder, and is just leading this team as well on the in the batter's box. If everything's going perfectly, if everything is going just top tier, the ceiling for the Royals is what Baltimore is right now, where they're a game or two out of the wild card, even sometimes a half game, depending on whenever you check the standings. As they sit right now, they're a half game out of the playoffs. That is the best case scenario for Kansas City next year. And so if they get there, don't be surprised if you still trade away a guy like Scott Barlow or a guy like Josh Stalmont. Because trading those guys away might hurt your ability to win next August, but it might greatly improve your ability to win 2 August from now, whenever the team is more well-rounded and the team is more ready to win a World Series versus sneaking into an expanded playoff and expanded wild card. So I just think that everything Baltimore's doing is what you're hoping Kansas City can get to, is what you're hoping Kansas City can mirror, is what you're hoping Kansas City can duplicate. So I just think that you should watch Baltimore, keep an eye out on them and what they're doing with their team, and see how that ties into the Royals. Now, we'll talk again next week, Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll talk next week. So subscribe to the show on YouTube or any other podcasting platforms you got. Also, go check out Locked In MLB. Go Go check out Locked On Chiefs, first Chiefs preseason game on Saturday. Check that out as well. And until Monday, be good and be good to one another.